Welcome to DCU Worlds. We have big news involving the DCU, not just the DCU, but DC in general. First, we have this update about the DCU Batman because actor Brandon Sklenar, a fan favorite to portray Batman, even for me, recently gave an interview saying he would love to play the DCU Batman. Long before this interview, he had already told a fan he would approve of being the DCU Batman. I don't know if you heard or remember this news, but Ryan Reynolds' wife, Blake Lively, sent a message to James Gunn long before all this saying that Brandon is the right choice for the DCU Batman. So everything is connected. We just need James Gunn's approval. Let's talk about this actor and the DCU Batman. We also had news about the Sergeant Rock movie because there's now a report that actor Daniel Craig is being considered for the role of Sergeant Rock and that DC Studios has its eye on actor Jeremy Allen. Let's discuss this and why I think it's a bit bold of DC Studios to bring in a lesser-known actor for a B character film from DC. Additionally, we confirmed that director James Watkins will direct the Clayface movie. We also got this art by Dan Mora showing James Gunn next to David Corenswit as Superman. James Gunn even posted a photo on his Instagram with Zack Snyder, and as always, many fans began theorizing that Zack Snyder could direct a film in the DCU. Let's talk about this controversy because I already know what Zack Snyder's and James Gunn's fans are thinking. The DC Comics also announced a new comic story featuring Krypto that will basically tell how Krypto ended up on Earth. Furthermore, we had announcements about a new Supergirl comic and the new Batman symbol in comics. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard some people saying this should be Batman's look in the DCU. So, folks, let's discuss all of this because we have much to cover in today's video. But before we start, don't forget to hit like, comment below, and subscribe for more content like this. Follow our other social media, too, on Instagram and Threads. I'll keep you updated about this universe we love so much. First up, let's talk about Brandon Sklenar, one of the actors who is very much liked by fans to portray Batman in the DCU. Recently, he gave an interview promoting the second season of his show and was consequently asked about fan casting for Batman. He said,
"It'll come back."
You know, Brandon, before we wrap up, we have to ask, and there's this vacancy right now for the role of Batman in James Gunn's new DC universe. And we know you approve of the fan casting. What is it about that character that you love so much?
Oh, man. I mean, Batman's been my favorite comic book since I was a child, like a small child. And it's like secretly been my forever dream to be Batman. And then like, that's not something you want to like say too much, you know, because you're like, oh, okay. And then I started seeing all this fan art and I was like, oh, damn, like this, I like this. And I was like, this kind of makes sense. It kind of makes a lot of sense. And it's also kind of parallels to Spencer Dutton. Like there's a lot of parallels between these types of men. And I just think I would crush that role. And I'd love to do it if it ever happens. I'd gladly do it. Yeah.
The fight that you have in the boat, that alone was such like a Batman fight where you're just pummeling those dudes. So
totally.
I'd love to see you in that role.
Well, that's the thing. Like even when we were filming season 2, I was like, this is kind of Batman-y. You know what I mean? Like this like quiet, vengeful, like deeply emotional man who's just like, I'm gonna plow through whatever I can to do what's right for mine. You know, it's a really powerful archetype, and it's very similar to Batman in some ways. You know what I mean? Yeah, Bruce Wayne. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Brandon, thank you again so much for your time.
Well, by the way, he talks about Batman. You can tell he knows the character. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a scene in the first or second season where he literally looks like Bruce Wayne. And just from that scene alone, I believe he can portray Batman much better than the other actors. I mean, what I want to say is that we've never seen a Batman that resembled the comic ones, you know? I think this DCU Batman needs to step away from that more realistic vibe and move towards a more fantastical one. I think people are more used to these more realistic versions of Batman, right? We recently saw this with Robert Pattinson's Batman, Christian Bale's among others. And if in the DCU they manage to bring that essence of Batman, I think it could lead to a great film. You know, that feeling of seeing the Batcave with a giant penny, with a dinosaur and uniforms hanging up? That's what I'd love to see in live action. Now, about the actor, he's not very known. He's done some very good films like this series he's been involved in recently. He's a young actor at 33 years old and 1 to 88 meters tall. And I think he could look physically great as Batman. Another thing is that some time ago, James Gunn mentioned that the DCU Batman will be a bit older than David Koretz's Superman. He didn't specify an age, but I'd guess there should be a difference of 3 to 5 years between the DCU Batman and David Koretz's Superman, and Brandon is the perfect candidate to be the DCU Batman. Now let's move on to this news about Sergeant Rock's movie, because it was said by Nexus Point News, which is a reliable site, that actor Daniel Craig, our beloved James Bond, will not play Sergeant Rock in director Luca Guadagnino's film. Soon after, The Hollywood Reporter confirmed that filming will begin this summer in the UK, and also states that actor Jeremy Allen White is among those considered for Sergeant Rock. First off, I want to say I was disappointed it's not Daniel Craig, because I think he would do very well with this character. Secondly, I thought they were looking for a more well-known actor, so I didn't expect it to be Jeremy. And, you know, guys, since it's a movie about an unknown DC character, they should bring in a more known actor. But since it's going to be a smaller film, meaning low budget, it could still achieve great success if the story is good too. And we know war films do really well because it's part of human history. It's amazing because DC has some stories set during World War II that are quite incredible, and I think this film can turn out great compared to Clayface's movie, which is about a character few people know and is more connected with fantasy. So I believe Sergeant Rock's film can do really well because it strays further from superhero vibes, fantasy, superpowers, and stuff like that. Plus, being a war film set during World War II could actually surprise us. Well, Sergeant Rock has already been introduced in Creature Commandos. If I'm not mistaken, it was in the 3rd episode when he appeared with Easy Company. So we'll probably see this team in the movie. I'd also like to see G.I. Robot in this film, but I doubt that'll happen. I think it'll really focus more on World War II and politics. And while talking about Clayface, The Hollywood Reporter confirmed that director James Watkins will direct the Clayface movie. The source states here that James Gunn met with the director of Speak No Evil this past Thursday, which led to him being chosen as the film's director. Well, this was to be expected because the other director competing with him is not competent to make the Clayface movie, and so James Watkins hasn't made any major films, so I don't expect much from this film. What I hope is that it will be good. The film will have a budget of $40 million, so that means if it makes $80 million, it's already a profit. Well, that was the information we got about the Clayface movie. It hasn't been confirmed yet who will play Clayface, but I'm sure in the next scenes we'll have more updates about this film. Very well, let's talk about this photo that James Gunn took with Zack Snyder, because there were some fan theories saying that Zack Snyder is involved in DC Studios. So what was this theory? Well, they are saying that this place where James Gunn took this photo is the same place he filmed that video announcing the first chapter of the DCU. And it's also where he took a photo with the DC Studios team. They are saying this is where they hold meetings to discuss their projects. And with this photo James Gunn took with Zack Snyder, people have started theorizing that he may have had some kind of meeting to direct a DCU film. Well, first, I don't think it's impossible for Zack Snyder to return to DC. Second, maybe it's just a photo and nothing more, because James Gunn and Zack Snyder are longtime friends. They are directors of films, so I think it's just a photo. But that doesn't mean he isn't involved, because I find it very suspicious they took this photo specifically in this place. Well, now let's talk about the announcements DC made recently. First, we have a new comic about Krypto titled Krypto, the Last Dog of Krypton by Ryan North and Mike North. The first issue comes out on June 18th through 5 issues. Krypto explores Earth in search of his family, finding himself lost and alone in our world and with strange new superpowers quickly emerging. Krypto begins to travel through the strange planet he finds himself in while always on the trail of his lost friend, Kal-El, a being now better known as Superman. Well, I think it's totally valid to have a Krypto story, especially now because we're very close to the Superman movie launch, and this always happens, right? Every time there's a big release, people sell out the comics. That's a fact. And for example, when James Gunn announced the Superman film and said it would be based on the 4-season stories, the comics sold out instantly. I spent a long time searching for the great stars to read and so on, but they were sold out. Some people look for comics so that when they watch the movie, they have a more complete experience. I think bringing a Krypto comic could create the same buzz because the character has caught people's attention. And I believe this story can sell very well to those excited about the Superman film. DC also announced that Supergirl will be written and illustrated by Sophie Campbell and will be released on May 14th. Kara Zor-El has always been a key member of the Super family in Metropolis, but Campbell is taking Supergirl in a new direction among familiar surroundings as she returns to Midvale, With a new series, Supergirl also gets a new costume designed by best-selling cover artist Stanley. And this will be Supergirl's new outfit, and I think it's very pretty. Every time I imagine Millie Alcock's Supergirl in the movie, I picture it looking somewhat like this. So it's really good, this strategy they're using to promote their films with comics. It can draw comic readers to theaters. Overall, I really like these updates. I also enjoyed the announcement of Batman's new symbol. I hope Batman in the DCU looks like this too. All right, folks, that's all I wanted to share with you. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment below, and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.